Improve your writing of Chinese characters significantly. In a nutshell, first things first. Decide to make a commitment to learning Chinese characters. Secondly, practice daily. Thirdly, drill yourself in writing the characters by copying each character out at least 20 times across the page. 4. Learn the meanings and names of all radicals. 5. Learn the pronunciation and, if possible, the meaning of all other components. 6. Practice saying each verbal component separately and then together. 7. Use squared paper, 1 square per character, and make sure you stay within the square whilst writing the character. 8. Imitate the example perfectly in every aspect. 9. Write slowly. Finally, to recap, make it your daily routine to write out the characters many times. Now, let me explain these hints in detail. These tips are for advanced learners of the Chinese script, who nevertheless want to improve their command of writing Chinese characters and to make rapid progress in this endeavor. If you are an absolute beginner, this video is not for you. Instead, consult the many beginners' materials covering basic types of stroke order, basic pronunciation, and meaning of the components. Return to this video once you have mastered these basic points. My entire focus is on how to remember and to write Chinese characters better. So, in order to make the most of these hints, you should already have a basic understanding of how Chinese characters work. That means you are familiar with terms like radical, semantic component, and phonetic indicator. I have found the following hints to be very useful. Okay. Number 1. Be certain you want to perfect your Chinese character writing skills. This may sound too simple to mention, but it is very important. If you don't know this already, learning Chinese characters can be quite exhausting, annoying, bothersome, and time-consuming. There will be frustration and setback, so be sure you wouldn't rather invest your precious time in learning something else. And if you do decide to follow this learning procedure, be proud of the fact that you have made a commitment to perfecting your writing skills, and from time to time, give yourself credit for your hard work. Number 2. Practice every day. This is a very common sense point to make, but equally important. There will be days when you feel you're not making any progress. Use one of the many apps for learning Chinese characters. I use Plico and practice while I queue, wait for the doctors, or ride the subway. And beware the polite comments of your Chinese friends or colleagues. They will praise your beautiful handwriting. Don't let praise make you complacent. Don't be fooled. It's not beautiful. Don't let up on your practice. And your daily practice session should be at least half an hour. The third point is the best advice I can give you. Drill yourself in writing the characters. Copy each character out at least 20 times across the page. By writing, I mean with pen and paper. Follow stroke order rigidly. Writing them twice or even 10 times is almost useless. Constant writing practice familiarizes you with the structure of the characters. Daily practice trains your hand to write the characters properly. This rule is absolutely crucial. Do follow it. Number 4. Learn the meanings and names of all radicals. I recommend adding them gradually to your vocabulary list. However, to jumpstart the learning process a bit, learn the most frequent ones first. Woman, man, heart, hand, water, fire, earth, wood, metal, mouth, language, jade, moon, walking, grass, bamboo, silk, and insect. These radicals form the basis of the structure of 2/3 of all characters. Number 5. Learn the pronunciation and, if possible, the meaning of the other components. This requires effort and really is the exhausting part, but it is also the way to make progress fast. This is because, with this learning approach firmly established in your daily routine, the building blocks of every Chinese character will become more and more familiar to you. This will make it easier to learn the characters as a whole. This is not so hard for characters like
扣
or
房
and,
请
where you already know the components. This is because they often act as radicals. But don't forget those characters that can act as phonetic indicators. Often, these parts are overlooked, but they give great clues about pronunciation and meaning. Therefore, this knowledge makes it easier to remember and to write the character as a whole. For example,
牵
is used in
脸
or
追
becomes
谁
or
树
becomes
素
and
笑
becomes.
消
Unfortunately, sometimes they don't offer any clue because the pronunciation of the phonetic component is ancient. Like in
他
or
你
or
将
and,
刺
but do learn the pronunciation of these seemingly unhelpful components because you'll recognize them later as parts of other words like to, soul, work, yawn. So stick to this method. Number 6. Deconstruct the characters like we did in points 4 and 5 and then put them together as you drill them. It is especially helpful to do this verbally as well as in writing, like in the word
以
for chair. Wood, big, a nail, and a mouth, becoming chair. The more components you know, the less detail you need, like a tree, big, being able, becoming chair. And after climbing up the HSK ranks, like a pro in Chinese,
一个木字旁一个奇怪的奇
becomes.
以
If you are super curious, check out
中文
.com or any other of your favorite character evolution dictionary sources for precise explanations. For example, the character for chair was originally the character of a certain type of tree, which is also pronounced.
以
This tree bears grains that are unusual or pretty looking. This wood was also used for making musical instruments. So, unusual
奇
was chosen as a phonetic indicator. So this sample dictionary explanation offers an important insight, which helps in the memorizing of that particular character. But to do this with every character is strictly for the hardcore and represents a mega undertaking. Number 7. Apart from using apps, use squared paper when you practice, especially when you are beginning the process of perfecting your writing skills. Stay in the square whilst writing the character. And don't try to use the squared templates that Chinese university students use for their memos, because they are too small for you to use at the moment. Start with larger size squares, those that most courses on learning Chinese offer. Number 8. Stick closely to your sample. Imitate it perfectly with regards to stroke length, general aesthetics, and composition. Number 9. Write slowly. Don't think what you have written quickly is in any way Chinese or even good looking. Like I said in hint number 2, it does not. Number 10. Again, drill yourself in writing the characters repeatedly by copying them at least 20 times, each one in a row. I know it may appear to be an unnecessarily archaic Chinese technique, but let me explain why it is important. First, the Chinese themselves learn characters this way, so you should follow their example. By the way, this time-honored method offers a great insight into their learning experience. Secondly, you need to train your hand to write the characters as you would your own signature. The writing of the characters needs to become a fully automated gesture. The advantage of this is that since your body is involved, the character is more deeply embedded and more easily remembered. Sometimes, although your conscious mind does not remember, your hand does. Many Chinese rely on this trick because they perceive a character as a whole individual entity. Think of one of the most frequently used characters in Chinese. Component-wise, it is white and spoon. But having seen and written this character out 1,000 times, it is just
的
That's where we want to be when writing out at least the 3,000 most frequently used characters. If you use these hints to improve your writing of Chinese characters, you'll soon discover and come to appreciate the magnificent realm of Chinese calligraphy that lies at your fingertips. Please let me know whether these pointers were helpful to you, and above all, have fun.